start, Director?
Okay. I'm going to start with the, Mr. Chair, with the
Justifications?
yeah, for the total order of the virtual meeting.
Okay, let me get this out. Okay, buenas everyone. It's Wednesday, August 11th. It's 2:03 p.m. This meeting is called to order. In compliance with Public Law 24-109, Guam Ancestral Lands Commission published the public meeting announcement for Wednesday, August 11th, 2021 in the Guam Daily Post on Wednesday, August 4th, 2021 and Monday, August 9th, 2021. Okay, let's move to the agenda.
So, want me to take roll call now? Okay.
Director?
Chairman Ecuador.
Present?
Okay, Mr. Thank you. Okay. Vice Chair LaGuardia. He's not tuned in yet. I don't see him. Secretary Treasurer Cruz.
Here.
Commissioner Camacho. I don't see her tuned in just yet. Commissioner Orlino.
Here.
Commissioner Rios.
Here.
And Commissioner Wesley.
Here, I'm sorry, Director, may I add something?
Yes.
Okay, I am en route right now to my house to get online with my desktop. So in the interim, I'm driving with my phone in the meeting. So as soon as I get home, I will log off and then log back in.
Okay, thank you. Well, Mr.
Okay,
Chair,
thank you.
We have 5 commissioners present. We have a quorum for both operations and land.
Okay, very good. You know, I just realized that I don't have the minutes. What email was the minutes sent in? Was it? I'm on.
Kathy sent it up. Kathy, what's the minutes sent out with the packet, the commissioner's packet? Kathy, you're on mute.
Yes, I sent the minutes along with the entire package.
Okay, I'm looking. It's in the email?
Yes, sir. Let me
Maybe.
Mr. Chair, the vice chair just logged on.
Okay.
Vice Chair LaGuardia.
Okay, we'd like to recognize our vice chair, Ron LaGuardia, is present. Did you? I don't think I downloaded the packet, but I don't think it was in there. Was it? Do any of you commissioners have
No.
the minutes?
I don't.
okay. Setting it now. I just sent it.
Oh, you just sent it? Okay. I didn't realize I didn't have it till just when we hit it on the agenda here.
The minutes are pretty lengthy. It's about 8 pages. 7 pages of reading the last page.
Shall we just while we're I think it just maybe inadvertently was not sent, maybe because I don't believe the other board members has the minutes. Does everybody have it, or you're
No, I don't.
need to download?
I just now have received it.
Okay.
I just sent it again.
Okay, we're okay. There it is on my end. Hang on. Okay, I'm downloading it. I got it.
Hey, folks, we have a lot of backfeed and yelling, and sounds like kids talking in the background.
So I guess for the commissioners that aren't speaking, could you please mute yourself?
Can it turn over?
Okay, could I confirm that that everyone has the minutes and reviewing it? Okay, I'm going to assume that everyone has the minutes.
I have the minutes. I'm reviewing it now.
Commissioners, I'm going to be logging off momentarily, and then I'll be right back on in a few minutes. Thank you.
Yes, nice speaker, Diego Mendoza. Is there Mr. Chairman?
Director?
Yeah, what I found on page 6,
Page 6.
yeah, needs a correction. Where Commissioner Westling agreed to pay the amount requested. She said to pay the dollar amount requested. And the motion there, what we had was the difference that we could transfer to Gita at 27,000. The requested was $45,431. That'll be a correction. Where Commissioner Westling amended her motion to approve the $45,431 requested. The $27,864.11 is what we have in the resolution to transfer, which was approved last meeting. So it's just a correction on the amount. That's on page 6, line, well, under the highlighted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where it comes to Commissioner Westling on that very line. It says
So,
27,864. That's the difference in the resolution that we have prepared to be sent to Code 360 to transfer the remaining amount, the difference, because we've already transferred 93,000 and they've used like 75,000. So the correct amount there should be $45,431.
so it's not 27,864.11.
Right. That you could strike that out and replace it with 45,431.
Okay, how do we do that? Do we note that? That needs to be
Yeah,
correct.
I would note it on it as corrected for when the minutes come, when you come in to sign the minutes, we'll correct it on the approved minutes. I'll write that in on this end. And when we type out the new one, we'll place the correct number in for
Okay.
signature.
Um,
And because that's the difference that goes in the resolution, as you said, you approved the resolution from last time, you just get it done. That was the difference of what we're transferring, because we've already transferred the bulk of the money to Gita. They just needed $27,864.11 more.
okay, so noted. Any objections or any questions from the board regarding that?
I just want to make a comment.
Okay. Commissioner
We
Cruz?
usually get the minutes at least a day for us to review, so we don't spend so much time reviewing it today. It's only that there was a bulk of work, but just for your information, Kathy usually puts it up a day before. It's only this time that she wasn't able to. Thank you.
Yes, it was kind of lengthy, and with the workload that we dealt with the past couple of weeks, the minutes weren't completed until late yesterday. So I went over rather quickly because we also had a cabinet meeting at the governor's office. And so by 3 o'clock, I was out of here and down by Adelup. So the minutes were just completed yesterday. We've had a heavy workload. Plus, we were trying to arrange the office so that we could try to move files out of the way in the conference room so we could work towards getting our, hopefully in the upcoming fiscal year, start having some face-to-face meetings if possible. Because I know Commissioner Westling requested that we work towards that. And so we're trying to get the office ready so that we could accommodate that.
I have another comment. If at any time we're not able to, review the minutes, we can always table it unless it's something urgent in those minutes that we need to again look at. But just for your consideration, Thank you.
Okay. But the
Yes.
urgency here is the repair
Just
of the
for
roof.
your
We need
consideration.
to
Thank
transfer
you.
the money. Once the minutes are approved, then of course we can take the minutes of us over to the bank and have the money transferred over towards to get a check written.
Okay, so let's keep that in mind that we can delay or postpone the approval of the minutes if we need to review it on our own time. Notwithstanding any immediate action that's needed on the minutes, especially regarding in this case, the work that's being done at GEPA. So are we good with the minutes?
That was the only discrepancy that I found, Mr. Chair. And it was a big discussion.
Mr. Chair.
Vice-
Yeah, I just also, for the record, that I'm looking here where it's transcribed by Mara Paris. And if it was reviewed by Kathy and both of them, I think they should both be indicated on the minutes. Both names.
Okay. So we'll
Commissioner
include Kathy's name then.
Okay, Commissioner Westing?
Thank you. I'm just reading back through the minutes, and on page 2, starting with roof repair, it says on there, I'm sorry, one moment, please. Sean.
Page 2.
This was addressing this. I think this was from the director's report for the request on the change order under C roof repair. It says they are requesting an additional $45,000 to complete the roof repairs. The current contract is approximately $75,636.63. The commission initially appropriated $93,000 to GITA for the project. If you agree to the change order, we will need to appropriate approximately $28,000 more. So I think what my motion was based on that we needed to appropriate $28,000 more. So that was wrong. Because I know it says 45, an additional 45, that's on top of the 75, correct?
Yes.
Right? So we had already appropriated, we'd already appropriated 93 over and above the contract price. So we just needed to appropriate just another $28,000 more, which is what I think.
Yeah, the exact number will be,
right?
It would be exactly $27,864.11. Approximately $28,000.
Right.
Just a little short of it.
So my motion, what I'm saying is, so I think, was my motion correct then? To approve the 27,000, not 45, because
your motion was you moved to approve the dollar amount requested. And that means that we would transfer over the difference to make up for the short, which is 27,000. more, which will give them, which approved the 45. Your motion was the amount requested. It was general, and because at that time, Gita had yet to give us the exact number. They gave us a roundabout or approximate number of 45,000, but the exact amount was $45,431. And your motion moved to approve the dollar amount requested. You're on mute, Commissioner Wesley.
You're on mute. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to mute because my son is yelling in the background. So, okay. Right, so isn't the amount of 27,864 correct? We don't have to change that?
Well, your move to approve the amount requested. The amount requested was $45,431. The $27,864 is the amount that we need to transfer to Gita once to meet the approved number, because we've already transferred to Gita over $93,000, approximately 93. So the difference would be 27. That would be on the resolution. And I think Kathy could pop up the resolution for you, or she could send it to me so I could put it up on the screen. But
So Director, the actual amount is actually less than the motion, right? So that's what you're correcting?
yeah, because the motion is to approve the 45,000, so the contractor could finish the roof. What we need to do as a commission is, because we've already given for the project approximately 93,000, a little bit over that, to Gita. So we just have to present to them the remainder of the amount, which is $27,864.11. That's all the amount we're going to take out of the bank. We've already given Gita 93,000. So it's approximately around, I don't have right in front of me, about 120,000 total. It's close to that amount. Let me
So how much was her motion off by?
Let me show you. Okay, can I share my screen with you? Let me see.
Yes.
864. Okay, I'll share my screen with you. Hold on. Okay, can you see it now? The amount? What we have here on the line number 7, do you see the amount on the screen?
Yes, I see it.
This is the amount that we appropriated with 2 different appropriations in the past, since 2019 and 2020. The total we appropriated and transferred to Gita was $93,203.52. The contract was for $75,635 and $636.63. And then the contractor asked for a change order, and the remainder of that was $17,566.89 that we still have being held by Gita. So the contractor asked for $45,431, with the balance, the shortage is $27,864.11. So the amount to approve for the change order is $45,431. The difference that we got to give Gita now is the remaining, what is short on what we have to transfer that to them via resolution is $27,864.11. That's highlighted in yellow. So number 7 is the budget that we've already transferred to Gita. Number 8, line 8 is the amount of the contract. Line 9 is the remainder of the money still would be there. If we didn't spend it, they would return it to us. But because a change order was put in for $45,000, in order to meet the $45,000 that was approved at the last meeting, we have to transfer in number 11, $27,864.11. So the motion was from Commissioner Westling, move to approve the dollar amount requested. The dollar amount requested for the change order was $45,000. That's number line 10, $431. I mean, all we do is transfer the difference now of 27. Because over the last 2 years, we've transferred a total of line 7, $93,203.52. Does that make sense now? The top numbers were, of course, 94 and 5 were the other bidders that did not get the contract.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Director, if I may
Yeah.
comment, it would be good if I can just suggest that you print this out and attach this with the minutes, because the recordings will reflect on, and it would be good to have this as justification. Thank you.
So I'll include this into the minutes, these amounts.
Thank
Okay.
you.
That'll be
And
easy
that'd
enough
be
to
good to
do.
have this
That'll be in,
as justification.
once it's
Thank you.
approved based on, with corrections, this will be part of the corrections. It'll be added in. That'll be easy
Correct.
to do.
And Mr. Chair, without further ado, if there are any other, on the purpose of time, we can just approve this subject to corrections, and we can always go back and, reflect that again, because we just need to move on the
Should I-
I
minutes.
have a question.
Okay, I can
Yeah,
close
I have
the
a
screen share.
question. Didn't we request
Okay.
that also Public Works approve the additional project to complete the roof repair? I recall that discussion.
Yeah, it's based on them coming up with a certified engineer or public works. And they sent back a note. I believe I forwarded that to the chairman. I don't know if Mike Cruz, who's on here now, if he has that. But they sent a response that one of their guys was a certified engineer. And I believe I forwarded that to the commissioners in an email.
Okay, so Director, the
Yeah.
minutes show the exact amount. Am I correct that Commissioner Westling on her motion, 27,864 at point
No,
11?
no, that's the remaining amount to transfer to Gita.
That's
Her motion was to approve the amount requested, not necessarily to approve the change order, but to approve the amount. To approve the change order is based on a review by an engineer. Whether it be DPW or one that Gita approved the dollar amount requested. So the dollar amount requested would be $45,000, 431.
I see. So her shortfall was correct in the number, but we needed to approve the 45,000, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you want me to show you or bring up a copy of
It's-
the,
Mr. Chair, it's stated on the resolution right there. You can see it. The numbers are there. The
Okay.
45,431. It's all there. It's all there. And
Got it,
even the
got it.
correction of the 27,864 is there. So,
Got it.
Yeah.
if we can just allow the director to make the corrections, and we'll move to approve it, subject to the corrections.
Okay, very good, very good. That's clear.
Yeah, the resolution is, you're seeing is correct with the numbers.
Right,
It's the minutes that,
Minutes,
Right.
got
so
it.
all we're gonna transfer is the 27,000.
Yeah.
The other monies have
Okay.
been transferred, and Gita will handle the engineer, and we did come up with a name. I believe I sent to the commissioners sometime last week. I just have to go back over the email.
Okay,
And I asked if that would be sufficient.
okay, got it. Very good.
Okay, so subject to
and
correction,
and one,
which I
yes.
will include this, and I'll include it in
one more,
Excel.
Mr. Chair, one
Okay,
more,
great.
you know, with all of this, Mr. Chair, I mean, just add the resolution again, everything, all the documents relative to the minutes, please add those hard copies and or post them
Okay.
into our website. Thank you.
Great, so yeah, so I'll add the Excel chart that I put up, and I'll add in also to the minute, the resolution, and I'll include it after it's signed.
Yeah.
So it'll be
Yes,
part of the
and then
official
again,
record.
one more time, if you can just highlight that,
Okay,
Mr.
great.
Director, the changes, just put highlighted in yellow, the corrections during, you know, once we approve it. Thank you. Yellow, the corrections during,
great.
once we approve it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great solution. Thank you, Vice Chair. Okay, guys, you still need to share the screen.
Okay, I think we're good.
Put highlighted in yellow, the corrections during, you know, once we approve it. Thank you.
As long as everybody's read the resolution,
I think we're good. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
one more.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Lino?
Okay, it's too small here, I can't read it. Is it Pro Pacific Builder Corporation,
yes,
the contractor?
yeah, let me pull out there. It's Pro Pacific Builder Corporation, and Mr. Jin Yon Yu is the president.
Okay, and they do business as epoxy coating and telecommunications?
Yes, they do epoxy coating, and they have an expert on roof repair an engineer on their staff,
Okay,
according to Pro Pacific.
okay.
Their chief
Yes.
engineer is a
Yeah.
certified engineer, I understand it.
What,
And he gets to
yeah,
see the
what's the,
proof. Yes,
so just how much have they done? Is this by increment? And is it nearing a completion of this job?
okay, that's gonna be in the Gita report, and I believe that they are paying them by increment. Last time I got notice is that they have paid them the first increment, or they were going to pay. According to their report, sealed roof, the report today I'm reading doesn't tell me that, but Mike Cruz is on. If you want, we could ask Mike that, if they've made the payment of the first increment. Mike? Mike, you'll have to unmute.
Yes, we have made the first payment.
Okay. Commissioner, does that answer your question?
Okay, sorry, I can barely hear. I'm putting my ear to the thing. Yeah, in first increment was paid already, and that's the job that they have completed. Is that right? They've paid them the first increment?
I believe that's
Yeah.
what Mr.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
Mr.
did make the first payment on the,
First increment, okay.
yes.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear. I just wanna, okay. Thank you.
Get one of these.
You're welcome.
Get one of these. Yeah, that's only
Huh?
$20. It's good to get one of
What?
these, Commissioner. It's only $19.95 down in Agana Shopping Center.
We have plenty, but Danny's hiding it. I don't know where he put it. I can barely hear them. So wait, I'm telling my daughter to check the volume. Well, hi, Commissioner. I'm checking my volume. Say hi.
You are loud and clear here. Okay.
Oh dear, now I could
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Clear, all right? You're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
The magic of a volume control.
Right, it was hidden under the iPad.
Okay, can we move to approve the minutes?
Yes, Commissioner, I move to approve the minutes of August 11. For July 28th, subject to the corrections as indicated by the commissioners and our director, our fine, hardworking, well-deserved director.
Right
Hardworking,
on.
well-deserved director.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Director, can we get back to the gallery view?
Good thing. Okay. We're back to the gallery.
Ms. Masi?
Okay.
Yes. Motion on the floor to approve the minutes, our July 28 minutes, subject to the change. So do I hear a second?
A second.
Okay, we have seconded by Commissioner Orlino. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye
Aye.
here. Any
Aye.
nays? Okay, any nays? No nays. Motion passes to approve the minutes. Okay. So we move to, well, what do we have next? Okay, executive director's report.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for this opportunity to provide you a report. Just yesterday, it's not written in my report, but I'll start off with that. This regards the GovGuama training and ethics in government. I went down and checked with the front office at Adelup with Michael Weekly. He's the coordinator for boards and commissions at Adelup. And I informed him that we were 100% trained. All our commissioners and including our staff have gone through training in the ethics in government. And the training is good for 4 years. And what I found out is that we're the first agency in the entire government of Guam, at least the executive branch that I'm aware of and that Adelup's aware of, that has had everyone trained, including the staff.
Wow.
So that's a first. So congratulations to all of you. I know Commissioner Camacho and I, we had our training a year or so ago, and your certificates are good for 4 years. So that is a huge milestone for us and for anyone else. So that was real good news when I received that from Mr. Weekly. So we'll be preparing a memo or a letter for our Secretary Treasurer Cruz to sign to send to them with a list of the commissioners who have and the staff who have taken the class. He noted that, and he says that I was real happy to find out the end result, that we're the first ones. So we set the goal for everyone else to catch up to.
Oh, we set the bar.
That's good news.
Awesome.
Okay, now good. Yeah, that's awesome news, really. That's really great. And of course, I let them know that not only did we have an attorney teaching the class, we had 2 former judges. One included the current OPA as students, and they geared the questions towards commissions and boards because the majority of the students attending were from ancestral lands. So that was the perfect one. So it was a perfect training for us. It was great.
Awesome.
So they were really happy with that. So we'll prepare that letter, and hopefully we get our certificates to you soon, within a month or so. Okay, getting back to what I've written, I know I had a discussion last week, and I talked with our Secretary Treasurer, who's been our Secretary Treasurer for years, And she mentioned to me about the procedures because I had issues about tying up loose ends with how we obtain or transfer funds or withdraw funds from our accounts, especially at Code 360. And so I went in and I confirmed on just last Friday, August 6th, that at Code 360 Federal Credit Union, the current procedure that is required for us to withdraw or transfer funds from the trust for the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission requires only the signatures of any combination of the three authorized signers, and with a copy of their photo identifications and nothing more. And because I sit down a lot with Joey and he gives me a good historical record, he reminded me of a case that occurred back in the early 2002 to 2003 when the commissioners came up with a more stringent policy to protect our funds in First Hawaiian Bank and Bank of Hawaii. And after I read through that, I started thinking that we have to put something down in writing. So I came up with a resolution and basically attached it to my report. And I hope that you've gone over it. It's called, it's a draft resolution number 2021-006, which updates the procedures for withdrawal and transfer of funds, which I see was the intent the commissioners had back in the early 2000s, from the trust. And these are the current procedures that we use, that Kathy and I sat down when we came in and we decided that as soon as we transferred funds out of the bank to pay Department of Administration to close out the last fiscal year, we transferred $253,000 to DOA without any minutes and without any resolution. And I felt that that was kind of scary, that all it takes is two signatures and somebody could be off in Jamaica or Bermuda having a nice vacation. So what Kathy and I did was we decided that we would require approved minutes and a resolution giving instructions. So that's pretty much what I wrote down, is that in the resolution, the big issue is, number one of the requirements will be approved minutes authorizing such withdrawal or transfer of funds. And number two, the resolution providing instructions for the withdrawal and transfer of funds. And number three, two signatures of the following, one from the Board of Commissioners, either the chair or the secretary treasurer and the executive director. And four, the physical presence of one of the authorized signers at the Code 360 Federal Credit Union to submit the withdrawal or transfer of funds request. I feel that that would make our funds more secure, that there will not be any opportunity for anyone to collude with each other to remove funds without any of the commissioners or the commission as a whole from knowing. I feel that's as open as we can get and as secure as we can get. And of course, that would preclude what was required before, that no fax or telecommunications or email for transferring, because if you have to be there physically, then that means that you definitely will not be sending anything via email or telefax. I feel that that would button it up and make it a lot more secure. And so I attached that to your with the actual resolution that I drafted up, the review and approval. I like the action on it. It's the current practice we have now, but the commissioners change every so often, and so does the executive director, and that's where the signatories are at. But I like to make it via resolution, which makes it pretty much a standing policy that is written down and approved, because the ones I went through in the past were written directly to the banks, telling the banks what they were. So apparently when the accounts are opened up at Code 360, what was required was basically two signatures. And you can bring in a photo ID of the other commissioner. And of course, we have your photo IDs here. So anybody could go in, write a paper who's one of the signatures, sign your signature or transfer it to a document and get your ID and go in right now and transfer funds out. So that's why I like to close that loop and make it more secure. And that's why the resolution. When I saw that and my discussion with Secretary Treasurer Cruz last week, I became concerned, and I started going through our records as far as what was the basic policy. So I realized that in the past, there was the intent to do this. I feel that now is the time to actually put it in writing, have it voted on, have the commissioners sign it off and send it off to the bank and keep it in a file so that anyone coming in will find that there is an intent to keep our funds secure. And then of course I attached B there, which is basically our current holdings of our different accounts in the bank to show you that we did transfer the funds that you wanted into 3-month term shares, and it added another 5 new account numbers
Right.
To us. So that's my report. So thank you for this opportunity. And if you have any questions, you need more information, please let me know.
Okay, any questions for the director?
That's very good, Mr. Chair. Mr. Director, those are very good points. I want to just commend you on those. Yeah, it's very important that you provide all that. You know, with regards to money matters, the more open, transparent, the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Any further questions for the director? Okay, so let's move on to item 5.
Sure.
Yeah, how about vote? Individual vote?
Hold on. Question? Excuse me?
We'd like to
Commissioner Wesley.
Okay. You're calling for a vote on this is the resolution regarding again, the roof repair?
No, this is
No.
the
No.
resolution regarding the withdrawal or transfer of funds in Code 360 within the Land Bank Trust Fund.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for that interruption.
Yeah, this is to make it more safe and more secure. Like I said, it currently takes just 2 signatures and it's easy. And the commissioners that were here back in 2002, 2003, remember how easy it was for money to be transferred out. I just want to, after going through that, I just want to put a stop to that or prevent that from ever occurring anytime.
Mr. Chair, I agree with that because we did have a situation that did turn out and it happened. And we're just wondering how those things came about, you know, right in front of our faces. I'm telling you, new directors, commissioners, it happened. No names, but it just popped right in front of our faces. And after the fact, things were being purchased and we didn't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, those were the records that Joey Leongoro brought to my attention after I started questioning him and he understood what I was looking for. He brought he's a great historian, not just a land agent. He remembers things that go way back. So I really thank him for bringing to my attention the intent. And that's how I was able to prepare the resolution, understanding the intent of the commissioners back in 2002 and 2003.
Okay. So the director's asking for a motion on the, I'm sorry, Commissioner Lino. Go ahead.
Okay, I just first, is this asking, because it's been a law practice that any and all withdrawals of monies or transfer of monies from Post 360 should be accompanied by minutes of the authorized signator there, either the director, one of the 3, or 2, the director, the chair, and the secretary treasurer, right?
There'll be 3 signatories because should one have an issue, then of course it'll be someone else around. But only 2 signatures, and this is to make sure list.
There's 3 there that are authorized, but 2 is needed, accompanied by the minutes of the last meeting. Okay. Understand. Has always been a practice. What happened back then?
But I think
I
it's
didn't even
used
know.
to be, it's original signatures, no such electronic signatures. And in some cases today it's personal.
Right.
You have to go in there to the bank.
Yes,
Those two, yeah,
yes, with
yeah.
ID, with
Yeah,
ID.
they have
and
to
the
be
two.
there.
Yes, I don't know. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's news to me. I
Post.
didn't know. And
Yeah, I just wanted to
that's
bring it
very
to your
good.
attention.
Yes,
Because I
very
had a
good.
discussion with our Secretary Treasurer Cruz last week, and I went into verify. And true enough, LA requires right now 2 signatures and the ID. So our IDs are there with our signature cards, and anybody who has access to that will be able to pull our signatures and our ID cards. And right now, just go over with that and list it, place it on any document. I want to prevent that and make sure one of the persons signing will physically get the bank.
Okay,
And
good.
that way, no telefax, emails, or anything that you see.
Okay.
Yeah, with a selfie, with a selfie, with a selfie.
Okay,
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and make the motion.
Yeah, motion.
My motion is to require 2 signatures. First of all, the motion is to require 2 signatures for any type of withdrawal from our accounts, whether it be Code 360 or any other account that we may open later on in the future. That the signature be, one of it is a director's signature, and the other will be either the chairman or the secretary treasurer. We may, and the vice chair too, it's not gonna, so it'll be the chair or any, it'll be 2 signatures, the chair or any of the 3 officers, the chairperson, the vice chair, or the secretary treasurer. And with it should be the minutes approving the transfer or opening an account or whatever the transaction may need to be, and that the minutes and the resolution, and should be, so this should be a standard of operation. So that is my motion.
And to include, yeah, go ahead, and the physical presence of one of our, yeah, any one of us. Okay,
minutes
those are the
of
4.
minutes of the last meeting prior to the withdrawal of monies
Okay, so
in any bank.
we have a motion on the floor, discussion. So basically, we're not approving this resolution, we're changing the resolution. Is that correct?
There's been a change in Commissioner Cruz's by including the vice chair as a signatory.
Okay, so Commissioner Cruz, you're including the vice chair in the signatory as an option.
That means that we will have 4.
Then it's
Right
not,
now, we have 3.
yeah.
Okay, so.
Is that what
all
you're
right.
making?
Normally, it's the chair, the secretary treasurer, and the executive director. But if you want the vice chair, and we will have 4.
So let's just limit it to 3.
Yeah. 3.
Yeah, 3 is fine. 3 is fine.
Okay, wait, so you want to amend your motion, or I'm fine with it either way. I'm just making things clear with the motion.
Okay, so I'm amending the board of directors signature from making it just 2, and that will be either the chairperson or the secretary treasurer.
And the director, right?
Yes,
That's
and the
way it's
director.
written.
So
Okay,
yeah,
So basically, you want to approve the resolution as written right now. Is that correct?
The
That's
only
correct.
difference, Mr. Chair, who in her motion was to not just code 360, but for any account of the, for the GLC, land bank trust. She said for any
Yes,
bank
very
account. This one is indirectly, towards code 360. So I
Okay,
can
so
include that part. That
okay,
would be
very
a
good.
minor change to the current
Very
draft.
okay, Commissioner Weston.
I'm sorry, where is the resolution for this?
It's on the director's,
So-
executive director's report.
Oh,
Scroll down to
okay,
page
I'm sorry,
2.
thank you. Okay, so, may I just add one thing? Because the way I'm reading this 2 signatures line, okay, and the way it's written, I'm feeling that it's saying 3 signatures. I could be wrong because of where the punctuation marks are. I read it as, it says 2 signatures of the following. 1 from the Board of Commissioners. So that means anybody that's on the board.
Right.
Okay. Then 2,
One, either or.
then it says and and then the second signature would be either the chairman or the secretary treasurer and the executive director. That's how I'm kind of interpreting this. That one
Yes, that means
is from the Board of Commissioners. The second one is either the chairman or the secretary treasurer, and then the executive director.
Okay, it's supposed to be
If you're only,
on the,
if you're only requiring,
okay, I can explain that.
if you're only requiring 2 signatures from either the chairman or the secretary treasurer and the executive director, then those would be the only 3 people who are authorized to sign.
Okay. So we'll move the statement 1 from the Board of Commissioners, and that would make it the way you want it, where it says, two signatures of the following, just scratch out 1 from the Board of Commissioners, and just say either the chairman or the secretary treasurer and the executive director. Would that be sufficient?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot clearer because I think that's who we're
Yeah.
talking about, who the
Okay.
signatories are going to be.
Yes.
Correct?
The Commissioner Weston, that sounds
Okay. That's correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
that
just
should
going to
be.
be those,
If
it's only going to be those 3 people. Only those 3 people who are authorized to sign, and you only need 2 of those
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, 2 of 3.
Okay. So you should remove 1 from the Board of Commissioners.
Yes, I guess that clouds it up. It makes
Yeah.
it clearer again.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
okay. Commissioner Lino.
Yeah, well, it's in line. There's 3 in their signature, but 2 of 3 and with the proper ID at the time of withdrawal, accompanied by the minutes of the last meeting prior to that transaction in the bank. It could, but I'm looking at it will be the executive director and or the secretary treasurer or the chair. But the executive director's signature has to be there. And one
Yes,
of
that's-
either,
Yes, one of the board members.
Yeah,
yes, either the secretary treasurer or the chair. Is that
that's correct.
how it's reading? Right, okay,
Yes.
that sounds good.
And of course, all banks require before you move any amount of money to present a photo ID.
Right, at
And we do
the
keep
time,
that- Yeah, we do keep that on file whenever we're gonna do anything. We would have to
yes,
present those.
okay,
And that's on file too with the bank for the signatories. All our information must be filed with them, inclusive of other information on how to get a hold of us.
okay,
Just to clarify, the resolution includes the requirements of the minutes and a resolution.
Yes,
It requires both.
Yes.
approved minutes.
Yeah.
yes.
That would be the minutes that are signed.
Okay, Kathy? Kathy?
Kathy,
Yes,
On
sir.
you.
May I just make one suggestion? On part B, if we can just add the amount also. So resolution providing instructions for the withdrawal or transfer funds to include the amount to be transferred or withdrew.
Yeah,
I think we, in there, we should indicate the amount to be paid.
That's
Isn't that
good.
included,
You
isn't that
see,
included in the instructions automatically?
that would be
Yeah,
instruction,
that would
yeah,
be
because
included
that'll
in
be
the instructions
the
automatically.
commission.
I
We
would
can
think.
see the amount also. So resolution providing instructions for
That
the
would
withdrawal
be
or
on the
transfer funds to
minutes, you know,
include.
the amount, and of course, then you would have to also include it in the resolution.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, it's already included in there, but that's a good point.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Reese?
sorry, I just,
Yes.
I understand it, I think, but I just for clarification, I'm sorry to take up a little bit more time on this again, but can a commissioner, one commissioner
Yeah, the
and a
amount,
vice chair
and
have
of
signatures
course,
on
then
that?
you
Because
would
for
have
me,
to
I think
also
it should be two
include it.
signatures, but one of the signatures has to be the director, and the other signature, I think, can be either the chair or the vice chair. But I don't think a commissioner or two commissioners, or a commissioner and a secretary, or a commissioner and a vice. For me personally, I don't. I think one of the signatures at least have to be the director, and the second or the vice chair. Is that how we're reading it? I'm sorry.
Yes, yes, exactly. That's the way it's written.
Okay.
Mhm.
That the executive director's signature must be there because the documents must be processed. And when they're processed, the executive director will be responsible for preparing all the documentation and
Okay.
signing off on it with one of the commissioners, either the chair or secretary treasurer. And usually it'll be the executive director that will physically be at the bank. That's the way I've been running it right now. Whenever we do a transfer of any sort, I would go there personally. But of course, to pick up or deposit checks or to do other stuff, Kathy is authorized for that. And that's where when we do the signature cards, we put her down as not a signatory, but a person who's authorized to go and access our files in case we require it. So,
Okay.
but yes, the only persons that could move the money would be the executive director with one of the officers, the chairman or the secretary treasurer. That's the way we've been operating since Kathy and I came here to Ancestral Land, and we felt that we must make it actual policy, something that's actually in writing, because what was written in the past affected only those accounts in the past. I read them and they were specific to that point in time. So I feel we should make these ones here a little bit more general to cover everything from now on into the future. So I like
Sure. Sure.
Commissioner Cruz's recommendation to add in any bank account that we have in any bank. So that would be
Yeah.
included. That would be the modification.
Yeah, I think for file purposes, I don't think the bank is going to ask for a resolution or ask for any of those sort of documents. So I understand that for you, Director, it's a bit more work, but it is important. I think that the resolution and the copy of the minutes prior are all very, very good information for the disbursement and the copy of that check as it gets filed away. So we know exactly what it was for. But the bank is not going to ask for any of that. If you were to go up to a teller, they're going to look, they're going to check the signature card, and and that's basically all they're going to go by is a signature card and the proper identification. And then they will move forward with the transaction unless we have a specific banker or a teller or specific personal banking individual that works directly with our account. And only that person is allowed to work with the account. Other than that, it'd be difficult to require a bunch of other documents for bank disbursements to happen without that's kind of an internal control issue on our end. I don't think the bank is going to ask for all those documents.
I've been a
But if we give
commissioner
them the
since
instructions,
2003, and yes, the bank requires, I don't know if there's a slip, but it requires a resolution, and on that resolution should be the minutes authorizing the withdrawal and the amount. So they're very, very careful. And I don't know what had happened and how only one signature was required, but we're not going to get into that right now. We need to move to approve it and have somebody second this motion and move on to the next item on the agenda.
So I guess you're right. Just to add a little bit, I think maybe with trust accounts, they're careful to make sure that there's a resolution, but that's just my information too. But very good, Commissioner Rios. Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I'm sorry. Who seconded the motion?
Commissioner Orlino.
Oh, okay. We have a second by Commissioner Lino. All in favor? Aye.
I,
Aye.
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 Okay. Any nays?
We didn't do a discussion on that. Once it's seconded, we go into discussion. Chair.
Okay. We did
Yeah.
discuss.
No,
Yeah,
but it's supposed to be seconded and then open for a discussion,
Yes.
and then we go for the vote.
Yeah.
But since we're doing that, just make sure that, Mr. Commissioner Rios was very good point on that.
Yeah.
But
It's just, yeah, you're right. It's just that I brought up a situation with her motion and she ended up correcting it, and that furthered the discussion about
Yeah.
a second, but you're right.
Yeah.
It should be seconded. Commissioner.
Already? So we go ahead and go into discussion, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, there. No, let me finish. So the internals is for us, basically, the resolution and all of that, that's necessary, as well as
So
the
we go ahead and
transaction
go into
receipt.
discussion, right?
Please attach that with all our resolutions and documents, checks. And
I agree with
everything.
you, Vice Chair.
Yeah, yeah. And whoever was present there, take a picture of that with you holding it, and then file
And
that
we
as
should all
well.
get
So,
a copy.
hey,
of
it's true,
whatever Transactions,
Okay,
whatever has to move out of the GALC, each commissioner should be aware of what's going on, because it's unfortunate and it's unforeseen that, it had happened, and without knowledge.
okay,
of,
so we
you
do
know,
have
It happened already, so let's right the
a
wrong.
second on the floor by Commissioner Lino. Do we have any further discussions? I mean, we've been discussing, so any further discussions? Okay, I'll redo the vote again. All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Aye, okay. Any nays? No nays. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're back to the
Item 6.
move down. Okay, we move down to item number 5.
Well, is the director done with his report?
Need a-
Yes,
Mr. Director?
yes.
Okay,
Item.
thank you.
I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Director.
Yeah, you're right, Vice Chair. Let's move now to item number 6, Gita progress report. Gita, you got the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Mike Cruz, representing GITA. I apologize, Diego and Tony are not able to make it at today's meeting. Our report is relatively short this time. I'll just run through it. Weddingale Junction, we did send a letter to Carlos Camacho, and we have yet to receive any communication from him. We understand he's still off island. Upper Harbor Parcel 1, Commissary Junction, the tenant is current with his rent. The same is true with Matson at Polaris Point. TransSteel has made a payment for July, $100 more than what he normally pays in order to catch up with his arrears. Tengiz, AT&T is current with its rent payments. Moving down to Guam EPA, We did inform the Pro-Pacific of the commission's decision, and they have told us that pending the weather, they should be able to complete the project in the very near future. Public health, the MOU has been approved, and we are sending invoices and all that that we weren't able to do without the amendment. That basically concludes Gita's progress report for this period. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board?
Yeah,
Commissioner Weston.
regarding the GIPA roof. And I am just seeing today the change order and let me see if I can find it. And the, okay. And the quote, letter of assurance from the contractor on the project. And so I was really expecting a much more detailed proposed change order with a little bit more explanation and description in materials, labor, everything like that that's going to be done for the $45,000. And I have a little bit of a problem. We did request that an unbiased engineer review the change order to determine whether or not what they were proposing is indeed the corrective method for that roof. Getting a assurance letter from their senior civil engineer, I think is a conflict of interest as to what they're proposing to do. And so I'm not satisfied with that letter from there. We had requested either from the Department of Public Works engineer or for Gita to get in touch with a separate engineering company. Okay, was that done? Hello?
Basically, what we have is what was provided to you. We were under the understanding that it was an engineer and that the engineer from Pro-Pacific, at least I don't recall us remembering at least that it was an unbiased. I think we were given a choice as to the DPW engineer or an engineer that was, but
okay.
I didn't realize that it was unbiased.
Mr. Cruz,
Yes, ma'am.
as our managing agent, in looking after the interest of the commission, I would presume that it would be understood without us having to clarify that it should be from really an engineer that is not part of this project. And that there would be no conflict. We want an independent eye to say, yes, what this contract is providing. And I thought we were pretty clear on that without coming out and saying that it has to be an independent, non-affiliated to Pacific Builder Corporation. I think when we're asking for somebody, as Commissioner Rios had pointed out, somebody to look over this, to tell us, yes, this is correct, that it should be somebody else other than their employee. And also, again, I think their change order, okay, is, I've seen change orders, certainly, that provide a lot more detail for an objective eye to be able to look at and say, yes, this is correct. But to say, what is roof ponding on their change order? What's roof ponding? Roof crack repair with epoxy. How is that going to be executed? Exhaust pipe and base, cut and apply fabric for leak. I don't know what to say. This is probably the most elementary of change orders that I've ever seen.
Good one.
I mean, you know, I just, we want to get this work done, okay? And I'm not saying change contractors or anything like that at all, or even alluding in that direction. But I just want to make sure, and you know, Gita as our managers in this, you know, help us out. You guys are used to seeing these kind of stuff much more than I, you know, than myself. And
I'd like to add, Commissioner Westling's got some valid points, very much valid points.
I
Although-
agree.
Just
you
to
know
add,
what? Excuse me,
just to add-
let me just finish, please. And I apologize to everyone, you know, Mr. Cruz, you know, and Director Birch. Director Birch, you sent this out a week ago, and I apologize for not looking at it then. But you know, some of the things that I'm just bringing up, I mean, it's elementary. It's 101. You know, what we asked for was just, you know, somebody to look at this and an engineer and say, yes, this is what is going to take care of that roof. And I just can't believe anybody who would have looked at this change order the way that it's written would be able to determine that, other than their own personal engineer, which is a conflict of interest. If he was the senior engineer and he states he has roof experience, you know, and all that kind of stuff, then I go back to my original question. When they started removing the layers of sealant on there, how come he didn't see right away that that was not a monolithic roof?
I totally agree.
What I understand you to say is that you would like a more detailed change order and an independent engineer to take a look at what they're proposing. Is that what you would like in order to move this forward?
Yes, because that's, as far as the engineer reviewing their change order, that was always the desire from the beginning,
Yeah.
that it be an objective eye, a third party.
Notwithstanding. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but
Notwithstanding the fact that what we saw on the engineer's report was, you know, a guarantee. So that kind of like, for me, lessened the severity of the fact that he's the engineer of the company. I said, oh, there's a guarantee, but I'm thinking already there's a guarantee somewhat within the work scope of the work.
Can I,
So
may I ask Commissioner Rios? Because it was Commissioner Rios who brought up the idea of having a separate, you know, engineer, somebody, the way I understood it, just someone who's unbiased to take a look at what they're proposing, and which I thought was an excellent idea. And I believe, at least when he spoke, it was my understanding that yes, this would be an independent, somebody not connected with the company to look over it.
okay, Commissioner
Commissioner Rios.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And you're right. But also Mr. Cruz, I understand that it wasn't very clear that what exactly we were looking for. And I'd like to, when I suggested that, I suggested an engineer's report And you don't just become an engineer because the company says you're the engineer for the company. It should have been a pretty detailed report, and I apologize, just as and I apologize as well for not looking at that report. Man, our director works really, really hard, and I know that he does his best to put everything in order way before our meetings are come into play, and Kathy as well. And I apologize for not looking at that. I'm guilty as charged to not read those reports prior. If Commissioner Wessing did not shed any light on that report in detail today, I probably would have thought it would have been an engineer's report that we're so used to looking at that when I look at it in an engineer's report, I can barely understand it. So looking at that report or just hearing that report, I can understand that it would create, and it won't only be a problem for us to move forward and not allow for a more descriptive and more, and an outside engineer would definitely make it better and put a lot more trust in the board, and also with Gita that what's going to get done is going to get done, and we're not going to go holding back this payment, approving the amount, the increase, and then later on not being happy with it, and then struggling for this contractor to receive that final payment because we're not happy. And the engineer's report didn't put it in detail how the work should have been done, and we would feel comfortable in knowing that the work will get done properly. So I thought that, an engineer, whether it was their engineer or any outside engineer, that engineer would still bring it to DPW to sign off on it, just to look at it, or something like that, to say, yes, this report is a good report and this will fix the issues that we are having on the road. I don't want to be the guy that puts it that's going to delay the repair, but I want to be the guy that's going to be responsible for the repair being done properly. So I would think an engineer's report would be a certified engineer who knows what he's talking about and should have done a more descriptive report. I'm not a stickler about it being an outside engineer, although I would love to have a project manager on board at Gita that has some engineering background. That would be a great asset to Gita. That would be a great asset for us and the government of Guam. But maybe that's something we could entertain in the future. But yes, an outside report would be way better than that report that obviously we're getting now. And Mr. Cruz, it wasn't very clear. I did not state that I wanted an outside report. I did state that I wanted an engineer's report, and that being from an engineer. I am a bit concerned about that report that was provided. And my apologies again, Mr. Birch, for not reading that last week.
But then, Mr. Chairman, we would have to apologize as well because we understood it as an engineer, and even though he's affiliated with the company that is doing the work, the commission wanted an assurance that it was the proper way of doing it. So when the engineers at Pro Pacific, the current contractor, signed off saying that this was good, we went with that because we did not believe that the commission intended for us to get an independent engineer. We thought that the engineer for the company that provided the assurance would be sufficient. So I apologize that we misunderstood what the commission intended, and we can try and correct that now by going back and getting a more detailed report, a more detailed description of the change order, and from an independent engineer, if that's what the commission wants. But it was, I guess I apologize then for our misunderstanding based on what, we're now hearing, from the board members.
Mr. Cruz, sorry.
Just as an FYI, I think also Guam Housing has some engineers that we might want to look at. But go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
Thank you, Chairman. I just I just wanted to say that I think that if the engineer had probably provided a more detailed report, we probably wouldn't have any doubts about the work that he said, or the company said they would do to rectify those changes. It's different if you're asking for, a 10% increase, from 70 something thousand dollars for an additional $7,000 for an upgrade in material. But 40 some thousand dollars is 60 something percent more than the actual contract price. So it does create a little bit of a problem, I think, and the commission just wants to do their best to make sure that, we cover our butts, because it's a lot of money. It's more than we even appropriated, and I don't have any problems with the increase because I know it's a lot of work, but we just don't want to get it done. We want to get it done properly, and that's all. Thank you.
Okay.
And
Commissioner
Mr.
Weston.
Cruz, I'd just like to add, we do appreciate all that Gita does for us, and truly apologize for the misunderstanding, and that going forward, we'll be sure to be more specific so that we don't run into this again. But we do thank you for your efforts and recognize truly the good job that you guys do for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That concludes Gita's report. If there are no other questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so basically we're gonna have Gita look into getting another outside engineer assessment on the work scope that Pacific Pro wants to do, correct? Okay, so Mike, you're gonna get us some information
Yes,
on.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Any other questions then for?
Thank you.
Okay, regarding, real quick, I have a question regarding TransSteel. He paid $100 more. Just real quick, what was his balance again? I just wanted.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I don't have the number in front of me.
That's okay. But he did make a payment.
Yes, he did.
Any other questions for Gita? Okay, no further questions? Okay, let's go to item number 6.
Mr. Chairman, so
Thank
with
you, Mr. Chairman.
Diego, I believe Mr. Cruz can verify that Gita after discuss this with Diego Mendiola about number 6, about the GURA presentation, that I know that Gita was said at the time when they, well, in another meeting, that they were going to prepare this, the financial structure, because many of them had taken off or left with the governor for her trip, and they just arrived the other day that they weren't able to produce anything at this time. And plus their director, Melanie Manjola, is off on maternity leave at this time. Because of the shortage of staff, Mr. Diego Manjola informed me that they weren't able to work on that. So I'm not sure if Mike, is that still current from what with my discussion with Mr. Manjola?
I'm not exactly sure when you discussed this with Mr. Miola, but we did talk about it today prior to the meeting. And, we have taken a look at the GURA proposal. And, we do believe that GURA is basically following what is already public policy. There was a law that was passed that allowed Department of Land Management to construct the building. The reason that did not occur is not so much a problem with land management as it was with the overall GovGuam debt ceiling. And they weren't able to identify a sufficient repayment source for the monies that would be borrowed. We do believe that what GURA is proposing in the end will provide the commission with a very significant asset that would generate revenue. Our basic one of our basic concerns with the proposal is that if Ancestral Lands Commission is going to become the landlord of this building, we are not able to determine what your operating costs are going to be in order to help determine what your repayment, the repayment term on your investment would be. So Gore is asking you to invest $15 million in a new building. That, I mean, that, you know, for a $20 million building that will generate rent, you will have a significant asset. But we don't know what those costs are going to be. You're going to have, the commission is going to have to purchase insurance, janitorial service, you know, assume that the tenants themselves will pay for all the utilities. You're going to need security. I mean, there are a significant number of costs that the commission would have to bear on an annual basis, which may be part of the rent that is being charged. We looked at rents kind of going, current market rent seemed to be in the vicinity of $3 to $4 per square foot per month. At that rate, you would, the commission would receive its money back in 6 to 8 years, depending upon which rate you're using. But the operational costs would stretch that repayment term out for, we don't know how long, because we don't know what those costs are. And what we suggest, I mean, is that, you know, maybe the commission asked Gora to take a better look at what those operational costs might be. I mean, they're familiar with these things, and, you know, maybe they can come up with estimates on what it would cost for the various types, maintenance, insurance, janitorial service, all of these security, all of these costs that the commission would have to bear as the landlord. Diego and I discussed this, and, you know, we do see that you'll have a significant asset, but we don't know what those costs are, and we don't know when your repayment term would be.
So
thank you, Mr. Chairman.
okay, so basically, what Gura asked you to do, the director just said that you basically didn't have enough time to work on it just yet, but you're giving us basically a general assessment. I'm sorry, Director?
I had the discussion last week with Mr. Majola, so apparently they had a meeting today.
We're okay. We're very interested in this proposal. So maybe we'll just get a deeper look into it, and then as Gita's able to finalize the numbers, at least give us a, you know, at least do some work on like what you're saying with the operational costs and the timelines. So basically, we're interested. We're very interested. So until we gather
Mr.
more
Chairman,
yes.
you know, as Diego mentioned at the last meeting, we're kind of awaiting a request from the commission to detail the types of services that you want, particularly in these types of things. You know, basically our MOU, we're leasing property out, you know, and this becomes more of a, it's more investment, and, you know, that's something that we need a better handle on the types of services that the commission wants us to perform. For this GURA proposal, what we're suggesting is that maybe the commission could ask GURA to take, since they're the ones who are proposing it, that maybe they can come up with these operational costs that the commission would have to bear. And
Okay,
that way you can move forward with this, you know, while we're working out the details of an agreement.
We generally ask them some of the, I did personally ask them during their hearing, By the way, they did mention to inform the board that Gita's going to provide us with some numbers. Did they clarify what they mentioned that you're going to be working on some numbers? Did they clarify what that was all about? They did mention on our hearing that Gita's going to be working on some numbers to provide to the board. As to what those numbers were, we're not sure.
I believe that was referred to like financial, the
Yeah.
financial part of financing the construction of the building, but not including the long-term uses of the building, how we can get a return on our investment. I believe
Yeah, so-
Commissioner Weston had her hands up and she is in the field.
Birch, I'm sorry, just
Yeah.
a little bit muffled on your, it's going to sound,
Let me
yeah.
take this off. Okay, is that clearer now?
There you go, there you go. There, that's a
Really muffled up. I'm sorry about that.
That's clear, okay.
I closed my door. We're in one building and we share a
Okay.
central air. So I try to be secure. I don't want the Delta virus to kind of
Hitting
sneaky on
there.
us.
Okay, that's clear.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, what did you say? You can continue.
Okay, what happened was I believe they were gonna figure out how the financial aspects of constructing the building, how to bring in the funds that Ancestral Land has and how they could work out the structure of financing the building. And part of that would be one, either to, what was mentioned at the meeting, one was either to discuss that with the legislature and see if we can get some funds from them to build the building, because it'd be part of the restructuring and rehabilitation of the Ganya area. And the other one was perhaps to ask maybe the governor to come in and maybe we can get a piece of the ARP funds to build the building. So that was part of the financial structure that I assumed that they were asked to look at. But at least Gura said they were going to ask Gita to look at.
Oh, I see. So that's what I was just trying to get clarification on, if Gita was already on it, or did they actually move forward with Gita providing that information? I didn't really understand what those numbers were, but I think I see what you're saying. So basically, they're in the process of getting Gita to provide some numbers, right?
Yes, and I'm aware that when we come into the maintenance and security of buildings, usually set aside from the earnings, the monthly earnings, a certain percentage, and that's what we have to figure out what would be the cost. And that's what Mike Cruz is mentioning is the day-to-day cost of operating the building does have some requirements as far as utilities, janitorial services, insurance, and so on. Those are part of the maintenance costs, maintaining the building and making sure that the tenants are secure and safe. Normally, a part of the monthly earnings are set aside for that, because normally you get a return in your investment when you look at a building that you build, and then if you sell it, then you get a return in investment almost immediately. But if we keep it as landlords and we continue to rent it out, get the return on our investment is going to be stretched beyond 6 years. That's the explanation, because part of the returns that we will be getting, that we'll be looking at, will have to be set aside to keep the building up to standard and keep it safe. And that's the part we would have to figure out. And Mr. Cruz is recommending, because Gura is in the process, basically what they do is they build buildings, they rent them out, they sell them, they lease them. We do have some realtors on our commission that have similar experience, but that's what he's saying, that we could go to Gura and ask him what that cost would be. Normally, we would set aside a certain percentage of whatever our earnings are to cover that on a monthly basis, because there are costs to operating a rental service. And basically, that would be we'd have a building which would be a very significant asset. I agree with that. And you would get more returns eventually once we get our investment back. Now I'm breathing faster because I don't have my mask on, so my throat's going out.
Okay, so we're just gonna take it as it comes. We're just gonna, think about what Gita is saying about Gura providing us some more information regarding the operating costs. But I think on our next item coming up, we're going to be discussing some of these things. So I guess we'll just go ahead and move on to that, unless the board has any other questions for Mike regarding this. I think it might be
No, No questions, only that I concur with Mr. Cruz in what he was talking about as far as operating costs. There's a tremendous amount of things that would need to be, considered, and he pretty much, hit the nails on the head as to some of the big ticket items that go with monthly operating costs.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Rios.
Yeah, likewise, I just wanted to say that as well with Mr. Cruz's comments on that. We have I mean, just managing even a couple of homes, a couple of houses is a little bit difficult, with your own personal items. And I can imagine what this would be with regard to a budget, trying to put a budget together to maintain that. But and we know that as far as maintenance is concerned, it'll be, a lot easier when the building is new, but as the building gets older and things start to deteriorate and problems start to happen with, hard water damages and things like that, and just corrosion going into some of that electrical, that's when the maintenance really gets even tougher. So, and I know that we have experienced that with some of the older homes that we have and that we're living in now. I mean, 20-year-old home, you're already going to have some problems. So a lot of those things I know I know that's a big step for us. It's a great step though. I like it. I want to see something like that happen while I'm here, and I'd love to be a part of that. But I know that we got to really do our homework with that, because that is a big ticket item for us, but also a big ticket maintenance item too if we're not careful. And I know that it's very difficult for us as a government agency to spend money on things like that and coming up with plans to fix or to repair stuff, because it's difficult. We have to be very, very careful. And yeah, I mean, I would love to see that happen. I'd love to see Gita take that on and do that project with us if it's something that they would be able to handle. But thank you again, Mr. Cruz. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rios. Any other questions regarding that? Okay, for no further questions, let's move on to item 7, new business. APL, that's American President Lines. Director?
Yes, okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah,
Wait, I'm sorry, Commissioner, Director, anybody want to take a break real quick, a 5-minute break, or everybody want to continue? A five
Yeah, we should
minute?
take a break. Yes.
5-minute break, yeah, yes, please.
I'm sorry, Director, I didn't, I tried to. So can we, and Mike Cruz, I appreciate it if you stick around for some of the discussions coming.
Yes, sir.
Okay, 5-10 minute break.
10
What is it,
minutes.
guys?
10
10 minutes?
minutes. Yes.
Okay, 10-minute breaks. We'll be back at 4:01. 4:01.
Okay.
Okay, we're in
Okay,
recess.
Mr. Chair.
10 minute. Okay. Okay, we got it. Okay, shall we commence? Okay, it's 4:03 p.m.
Back.
This meeting is back in session. Okay, we're now on item number 7, new business, APL Container Shipping Company Director.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, APL, formerly known, it's not American President Lines anymore, it's just APL. Like GTA is no longer Guam Telephone Authority, it's just GTA. So APL is a Singapore-based container shipping company, which is a subsidiary of a French shipping company, CMA CGM, which operates an old container ship fleet, including 153 container vessels. They want to expand their footprint on Guam, and they contacted us. The chairman, Mr. Charlie Hermosa, sent us a letter that I forwarded to all of you, to the commissioners, informing us that they were interested in property down at the Polaris Point area, more specifically Opera Harbor Reservation F12-1 and also F12-2 and F12-3. What I informed them of is that F12-1 and F12-3 at Opera Harbor Reservation are still available, because the other one they asked for, Opera Harbor F12-2, is currently leased to Matson. I pretty much informed them that we have about 13 acres available on that side, and we do have properties across the street, but are mostly wetlands. And I forwarded them immediately told them to contact, I informed Carl Pangilinan that he should contact Gita, because Gita is our property managers. And I informed Gita of this about the same time I informed the commissioners of it when I received the letters of the interest. Because remember, we do have an RFP ready to go out for the Polaris property sitting at Gita at this point in time for those 13 or so acres that we have available that not only APL is interested in, but also Smith Bridge and Mike Limsiaco, and also one other person. I forget his name. Some guy who wants to open a aqua farm and wanted even the property across the street for that. But knowing that Matson, their competitor, that APL is the only competitor with Matson, that and they now have some kind of a turf war going on. And competition is good for us on the island, because if APL expands their footprint, they will, by competing with Matson, they will eventually bring down the cost of bringing in goods and items, into the island, because they're both involved in shipping. And right now, APL is undercutting Matson, and Matson is not too heavy with our tenants, because our tenants are charging premium price, I believe $7,000 or so per container to bring in goods, and APL is charging around $4,000. So of course, Matson wants them out, but APL wants to expand their footprint. So altogether, it's good for us. So, but I did inform, because I know that knowing that Matson has 30 acres, APL may want something similar. So Joey and I were looking around to find properties that might add or might interest them. And what we found close to the port, just about a mile, a little bit less than a mile, about 9/10 of a mile further than the Polaris properties, would be property up at Nimitz Hill, across from the old Top of the Mar area. That'll be lot Nimitz Hill Annex B1. And to the port that versus Polaris Point is just about a mile further. But the property there is good. It probably costs a bit more because it's not soft property like the soft property that's down at Polaris. And I did forward all of that over to Gita, to Diego Mendiola, and I don't know if Mike was brought up to speed on it, and I don't know where they're at, if APL has been in touch with them, because I know the process would be that something will be presented and then we would open up the RFPs. But right now, we do open up the RFP for Polaris Point. I do know that we will have at least minimum 3 companies, significant companies, that will try to bid up the price for it. And that would be APL, Smith Bridge through Dan Swavely, and Mike Limpiaco. So, and those RFPs are just sitting there. They were prepared and ready to go out earlier this year. I know Gita worked on it for about 3 months. They were authorized in November to cut it, to prepare the RFPs, and they were ready earlier this year, and then a stay was placed on them. So knowing that we have this much interest in that property, I would be asking you if you would like us to open that up. And knowing that now there's at least one, and I was told that there's another person interested in the Nimitz Hill property, the Nimitz Hill Annex B1, that we may have 2 people interested in that, and which would possibly include APL, and Gita would probably know the other one. I forget the name that Mr. Manjola told me. If you'd like to see a copy of the map, I could share my screen with you, if that would interest you.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you can see that on the map, and Joey could explain this in more detail. But up here at Nimitz Hill, where the cursor is circling around, is 163 acres. If you see the road there, going in front of it, that would be the top of the Mara. It just goes down Nimitz Hill, down by, of course, the Veteran Cemetery, and of course, the Port Authority is almost across the street. Where lower to the lower left, you have Lot Upper Harbor Reservation F12. What's remaining there for lease, that is a good point, for shipping companies to park their trailers and their trucks for a turnaround point and staging. We have about 13 acres available there. It might be what APL is looking for, and we have the RPs ready to go. If you authorize it, they could be advertised and put out within the week or next week, depending on how quick GITA can get it out, because the RPs are set to go as I speak. Of course, up at the Annex, Nimitz Hill Annex B1, we have 163 acres, but I understand the issue there is that the property as you see it, what I'm told by Mr. Manjola was that you remember up at Nimitz Hill, there is a fire station. And the question is whether or not that fire station, because the way it looks on the map is that it's included in the properties given to ancestral lands, and whether or not that was the intent to return the fire station over to us, because the fire station, as far as we know, is still operating and active by the Navy. So GITA would have to clear up that issue first, and that will that will slow down that operation up there. But ready to go are the RFPs that have been prepared. I don't know if Mike wants to chime in on this, if he knows about anything about APL and how far GITA has taken the issue. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, we have gotten in touch with the Navy regarding the fire station, and their response to us is that the fire station is still Navy-owned property. We sent follow-up questions to them because the map basically identifies the fire station as lot B-2, and the deed that transferred the property to GITA, and then subsequently GITA transferred it to the commission. The map shows and the deed shows that B2 was transferred to GITA and then eventually to ancestral lands. So we sent follow-up questions with the Navy. They haven't responded yet. We hope to get a response in the near future. So that is still up in the air as to the ownership of the fire station. But Mr. Birch is correct. There's 163 acres in B1. Actually, we're not able at this point to issue an RFP as quickly as we would like, because the law requires that we issue a determination of need if the intent is to secure a long-term, which is more than 5 years, lease for the property. Diego did check on this. There has not been a determination of need submitted to approved by the commission or submitted to the legislature as required for a long-term lease for the Nimitz Hill property. Regarding the Polaris property, the law indicates that determinations of need are good for 2 years. The last determination of need that we submitted for Polaris Point actually expired in May of this year. So we need to go back through that whole determination of need process if it's the intent of the commission to issue a lease that is longer than 5 years. If it's less than 5 years, no problem. We don't need to go through that. We can issue the RFP. So Mr. Birch is correct that we could soon issue an RFP, but that would have to occur after the determination of need is submitted to the legislature and after it's approved by the commission.
Okay. So Mike, then what it means is the commission now will have to approve the determination need, and then we'll sign it and send it off to the legislature.
Yeah, and we have,
done-
Diego has instructed us to prepare those determinations of need, and they are already drafted. They're just pending final review, and then we should be able to present them to the commission and then to the legislature.
Okay, so,
Again, if it's longer than 5 years. I mean, if companies are interested in a lease term that's shorter than that, 5 years or less, then we can do that without going through the determination of need process.
okay, Mr. Chairman, I guess the question is will the commission, is the commission interested in preparing or having the determination of need prepared for approval and submittal to the legislature?
Go back into gallery view.
Okay,
I'm actually very interested in pursuing an RFP with Polaris. But whether we should do it, if we can do it with the 5-year thing right away and then turn it into a lease after the determination of need, I don't know. It's up to the board. Maybe we should we wait and do a determination of need again for Polaris, or because the reason why I'm very much in favor is because basically the contamination down there. I know that we're gonna have to try do some. If they're still very interested, they would know the situation with the contaminants, and if they're able to mitigate that and work with us on it, I guess the RFP would entail the language that's needed. But I'm all for RFPing Polaris Point at this stage, putting it out because we've got some significant issues with the property. So, Commissioner Wesley, your input?
I was just wondering, does our lease with Matson in any way restrict us from leasing properties down there to their competitors? Are there any provisions or clauses in there that say that we will not lease to, competitors or people, or of similar business?
No, I
Just
don't,
a question.
I don't recall any.
Okay. Thank you.
Vice Chair,
I'm in agreement with the Polaris Point property. Go ahead. Whatever the commission decides, let's move forward. My question is, and I think Attorney Toff could work with this with Mr. Cruz. Is Mr. Cruz, we have the documents indicating that property where the fire station belongs to us. They need to provide their documents, not the Navy. So let's send them a letter saying, as we have the deeds to these properties, where are you getting your information from? Because the transfer was already executed and it's in our hands, right, Mr. Cruz?
Yes, Mr. Vice Chairman. They did send us, the Navy sent us, in response to our question as to the ownership of the fire station, the Navy sent us a map showing where the property labeled B-2 was located. That map did not coincide with the map that we have. And so we've asked them to reconcile that. And that's what we're waiting on from the Navy. What they show as B2 is different from what our maps show.
Okay, very good.
but I think we could still stay away from that area,
Yeah.
right? And still be safe if needed, right? Because I'm sure there'll be some other stuff that might be, more, attractive enough for the commercial use.
But that is the Nimitz property, not the Polaris property, right? B2 is, or
Yes.
B1 is the Nimitz property.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, although I doubt, because of the distance, that, you know, the shipping company would want to go that far, but I think we should pursue it anyway and see what we can do with, because I think they would probably want at the most maybe 5 to 30 acres like Matson, I think. So let's go ahead and move with that with Gita. If there's no objections to the board, in particular Polaris Point. Okay, Mike?
I just wanted clarification on whether we're talking about both Nimitz and Polaris, or
Yes,
just
both.
Polaris.
We're talking both because
Both.
I guess
Okay.
I guess we want to give the APL the option of, you know, one of the two.
Okay.
Oh, we know they only submit for just basically Polaris. I don't see them putting in a bid for both properties.
Right, but when they submitted for Polaris, they wanted the whole thing, all 3 lots.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that amounts to 40 plus acres.
What we're RFPing is what available, right?
Yeah, what we have available. And what Mr. Cruz is saying is we could do the short term, but if we go over 5 years, we need to send the determination needs to the legislature. But we could RFP it out right now if it's less than 5 years.
Yes,
And,
I mean, I don't mind doing it for 5 years and then changing it down the road to, you know, longer term if we can do that.
Okay, so that would give it open to move forward with that, with the Polaris properties that we have available, and to start on the one up at Nimitz Hill.
Yeah, board, what do you think?
I agree.
Yeah,
Both,
Okay.
both of them, yeah.
areas.
Let's keep the ball rolling. You know what I mean? We let it roll. Let's go for it.
I'm for it. I'm good.
Yeah. I think the commission should take a vote on it, Mr. Chair, so Gita could move forward, because the last time we put a stay on the RFP, and
Okay,
they weren't too happy
we-
with me at that time.
Okay, board members, do we go ahead and try for the 5 years first, or do we wait for the determination of need for a longer term, or so we just move with Gita with the 5 years? And then I'm thinking, I'd like to do that right away, but if we should wait for the deal, the Don, then I don't know, what's the board think? Mike, will it be easy to convert it to a longer term after the 5 years? Or will we have to RFP it again?
I believe we need to RFP it, but maybe legal counsel, you know, can advise on that.
Is our
Yeah, we
legal
would.
counsel?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
would need to RFP it
The
again.
RFP.
So I guess we need to wait for the determination of need then, and unless the interested parties are okay with 5 years.
Right. Correct.
I would recommend just RFP it out now, and then move
Right.
forward with the determination of need. And if they're interested, they will go for the current RFP, because I believe 5 years is long enough period where I think APL is now fighting to expand their footprint. We see that it's reached the news, not just Candid, but the regular news out there, PVN and KWM have been writing about it and discussing it, about the arguments and fights between the two. So I see that as good for us when we have competition. When you have a monopoly, the person can, or the company controlling the monopoly tends to dictate their prices of what they want to pay out and what they want people to pay in for them. Having competition is actually good for us.
Okay, great. Our directors all in favor for the moving forward without the DON? Any objections? Because I'm for it. I'm for moving right now.
No objection.
No objections.
No objections with me. Okay, so we just basically I'm just concerned that the RFP will basically address the issues with the property, or is just going to be a general RFP and it's not going to address the issues with the property and the cleanup. I think that would probably need to be addressed in the RFP, right?
Yes. Yes, we need to inform prospective developers of any issues with the property. So yes, it would include
Can
that. But we
Can we
could
get a motion on the
probably,
phone? Okay,
we could
I'm sorry.
probably
Yeah.
provide the RFP for you to review by your next meeting,
okay,
if that's.
sooner the better. Can we get a motion on the floor?
Yeah,
Just a
I'll make
simple
a
motion.
motion.
Okay, Commissioner Cruz?
Yes, I moved that, Gita, through MOU, proceed with the two areas, the Polaris Point and, Emmetsville Annex B, right? Yes, for RFP, just. That's my motion.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve the RFP for Polaris Point and Nimitz Hill. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Rios. Discussion? No discussion?
No discussion.
Just
Okay.
wanted, yeah.
Commissioner Rios?
Yeah, just wanted to say that that's a very unique tenant because we don't, most of those trucking companies or shipping companies are not really looking for something to build. They're just looking for like a lay down yard or a chassis yard so that's, we're not going to be so lucky with other tenants that are not most tenants are going to want a lot more years than that. So this is it's a good tenant to take it. We should take advantage of the situation with these shipping companies or freight forwarding companies or trucking companies because they just need a yard and this will work perfectly for them. So yes,
Awesome.
let's please proceed. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Commissioner Lino, you had your hands up first?
Clarify, as per Cruz saying that, me is good with less than 5 years. You don't need add-on, but more years that you can do,
You're breaking up, Commissioner Olino, but basically it's just moving forward with whatever the legalities with this RFP is, and the limitation is 5 years. Yes, that's what our motion is.
okay. Now I'm just asking,
Yes, that's
less
what her
than
motion.
5 years, no need for determination of need.
Yes, we're moving forward.
Okay.
Correct.
Can I just ask one more question? What's the area? How big is the area that Amazon is leasing from us?
It's about 13. Oh, you're asking about Matson or about the RFP?
Mats- Yeah, I
30.
just want to know about Matson.
30
Matson's,
acres.
30
30
acres.
acres.
30 acres?
Yes.
Yeah,
What's the size? 30 acres that they're leasing?
yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so, okay, that's all I want to know.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Westling, you had your hands up.
And so, Mr. Cruz, in the RFP, then full disclosure of the existing conditions of the property is going to be made in the RFP so that they are aware of all of the issues?
To the extent that we can identify those, yes.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay. I just want to make sure they go in fully informed.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Cruz, and I believe it was seconded by Rios. Am I correct? I forgot. By
Yes.
Commissioner Rios. Okay, it was seconded by Commissioner Rios. Let's go for a vote. All in favor? Aye.
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 I
Aye.
Any nays? No nays. I also vote aye. So motion passes. Just Masi. Okay, we
Thank
go
you,
now
Chair.
to, we're still in new business. B, risk assessment services. That basically would be development evaluation services or of the sort like that, which includes risk assessment. The reason why the subject was brought up for these type of services is basically because of the type of opportunities coming to the board as we speak, especially the last two regarding GORA's proposal and also the cement business proposal. So anybody want to, I know Director, you said too that you might have a couple of, options to look at, but Commissioner Westling, you wanna chime in?
Sure. Okay. Thank you, Chairman. And just to let you guys know, when I was asked to just, check what is available locally as far as professional services that would help the, that the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission could either contract with or tap into to help us to determine the viability of potential investment projects for Guam Ancestral Lands, to vet the risk level of each proposed project or investment opportunity. And so yeah, I started checking around, and the first company that I called was Deloitte Touche, and they did come back and say that no, they first of all, they don't do that type of professional advising, and plus because they audit GovGuam commissions, accounts and things like that, that would be a conflict of interest, so they could not entertain that. But in my discussion with them, they gave me a little bit of insight on what what the commission really needs to consider when considering any potential investment, venture, development, opportunities that are being offered to the commission. And time and time again, they said that it's really important for the commission to determine the time frame for return on investment. Okay, because we're dealing with trust money that's been set aside for repayment of dispossessed owners, that it is extremely critical that we drive and that we control when we can expect a return on investment, and that we would really need to decide, what that time frame is, because they said, what if it came to be that the commission was required to start payouts, okay, whether mandated by law or just that somebody comes up with it, and that we are obligated to do that, and the money's tied up for another 2 years or 3 years or 5 years beyond what we've now been ordered to do, that could get us into a lot of trouble. Okay, where it could be questioned, did we go or act beyond our authority? So he said it's really, really critical that that we know exactly what our powers are, that it's very specific, okay, that that we set the timelines for any potential investment opportunity as to what the return will be. And that he also said that it's really critical that we, of course, have legal counsel, to review all information that is presented to us, and to vet any contracts or portfolios, to make sure that that we are within our authority to enter into whatever is being proposed. Okay. There are only a few companies on Guam, I guess, that do offer risk management or risk evaluation services. And they mentioned, I guess, a Bank of Guam has an investment branch, Merrill Lynch, and also Asia Pacific Investors. Now, they said most of these companies do risk assessments to evaluate the merits of an investment opportunity, and also the negative risks on this. But usually it's more towards financial investments, like buying into stocks and bonds and things of that nature.
Hey.
1 second. Okay. What else? And so when we talked about, I said, what about development projects, new buildings and things of that? They said, well, maybe Gita would be a good source for that as well. Okay. But time and time again, he kept hammering in, what is Guam Ancestral Lands Commission's expected time frame for return, for the safe return of the investment, so that in the event you're ever called to start making distributions, that the money is available, because it's trust money. Okay. And they actually commended what the commission is looking at doing, but they cautioned, though, that because of politics and the amount of money that we have in here, that we need to be very, 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 very cautious on what we do, and to make sure that we cross all our T's and dot all of our I's, and make sure that any investment that we are considering, that we thoroughly do our homework and have it thoroughly vetted, to carefully weigh out the pros and the merits and the risks of any prospective investment. And he says really that, as far as they saw and what they know of what we've been mandated to do, they said, yeah, you've been given, powers, but they said, to do things. But he says it's very, very generally stated. And they mentioned that that's where we have to be careful, because they said anybody can cast just a little bit of doubt if they didn't like what we were doing or questioned what we were doing, and just to be very cautious. But at the same time, good for us for wanting to take this route and do more for the dispossessed owners than ever's been done. Okay.
Very good.
Any thoughts on that? Okay.
No.
Very good report, Luisa.
Okay.
That's where our legal counsel basically we have to rely on our legal counsel to really give us what we can and cannot do, per se. Also, the rules and regs, I think what we did was we tried to include language in the rules and regs that had language in there that shows what the timeline of us dispersing, how much to keep back, so basically the rules and regs would outline the disbursement time frame, because I guess we were trying to see, okay, once it reaches a certain amount, we were trying to see or a certain minimum amount that we had to, and then what portion or how much once a year, twice a year. The rules and regs was gonna basically regulate and dictate when those events would occur. That's that, and up until now, we still don't have, you know, official rules and regs. So we're at a standstill until those rules and regs are in place. But very good, Commissioner Westling. That's exactly what we need. I was hoping that maybe we could, alongside GITA, have one or two other development assessments that the board could look at to, you know, basically legitimize our decisions for or against, regardless of the proposal. So, do we have any thoughts on that? We procuring this type of service, and maybe we can get Gita to Mike to give us his take on this. Okay, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, as Diego mentioned at the last meeting, we're kind of awaiting, you know, a letter from the commission identifying exactly what the commission wants GITA to do in this regard. And so, you know, we need to present that to our bosses and to our board for them to review. So I really, you know, I mean, that's the direction we've been given, and we're waiting on the letter.
Okay, but just to further the discussion, although I really like the GURA proposal, like what you brought up, there's issues. I mean, not just issues, but there's unknowns. So in anything, what we have right now, it looks good, but these unknowns that you brought up, that make sense, operational costs regarding these developments and the timeline of us, you know, getting our, you know, our investment. So these type of things, you know, the board's kind of oblivious on. So having GITA and maybe one or two outside entities that the board can look at to come up with a, you know, an educated decision, informed decision, proper decision to justify why we said yes or no, basically. I mean, should the board just rely on one for such critical decisions? See, I'm of the opinion that we need at least two. Three would be nice. And it will be worth it to pay a one-time fee per project if it helps us come to, you know, decisions as critical as these type of things. I'm sorry. Okay, Commissioner Rios, you had your hands up.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I distinctly remember what Diego said, and that I can see why it's really important for us to table that, or maybe our director Birch can maybe get a draft going for us to get that memorandum of understanding going, so that we can, you know, officiate some responses from GITA, because I can see that as much as Mr. Cruz wants to help us and advise us on what to do, there needs to be an MOU in place, because that's not our contract, I guess, with GITA. So I can see that, and I think we should do that as Diego instructed, and I think that we should get that working relationship in place and get their director and their board to hopefully come on board with us so that we can move forward as well. Because I don't think he's going to give us any answers and what we're asking for, because there isn't any MOU in place. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? No, I agreed. Any other questions? Director, yeah. I think you're on mute, Director.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, what we would need to ask is, we need to know exactly what we're asking for. Investment services, assessment, or is it financial services or financial management? Because then when we come down to working it out, I have to sit down with our attorney, Nick Tuff. We can come up with a draft and present it, but we need to know the specifics. I mean, there's so many things that we could, I mean, we start talking about development, but then it goes beyond that. It's what do we do with the money that we have? What are we asking Gita? That's what Gita needs to know.
Yeah, basically the way I see it, it's investment evaluation, which includes, as a subheading, risk assessments. So basically we're going to be getting other proposals, I assume, not just these two right now. So we want, the professionals, right? Evaluation on these developments, the pros and the cons. Not necessarily, okay, go for it or don't do it. Basically, information, cohesive, sound information on the development projects, so the board can make a decision, as opposed to just relying on ourselves with something that might look good and it's actually bad, or it's actually, it looks bad but it's actually good. So does that make it clear?
You would want it on a case-by-case basis? Is that what you're saying, or just an open MOU?
On a case-by-case basis, yes. Unless the board has any other input on that, because I don't know how that would, because I would think the private companies that we want to also try to secure, one or two others, would be on a I'm hoping it'll be on a case-by-case basis. We don't know. This might be the last two we get for another year or so, or two, or we don't know. It might just start pouring in, and then we need to really decide to,
Yeah, because the way the current MOU we have with GITA, with the property management, is whatever we refer to them, like what we did earlier, we referred Nimick Hill and Upper Harbor Reservation to them, and now they take it from there. That's what we would like them to do, something similar to that. Once we have something, then we hand it over and GITA takes care of it, and it's in their hands.
Yes, and I guess they would figure out how that MOU would work, because, what if it's, the board says no? What if it's yes?
Well, that's what happens now. Once the RFP goes out, if the board doesn't agree with it, the board can say no.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a better understanding of what you need. That's where Mike and I have to sit down now, and then
basically we just need good advice on these investment proposals coming in, so that we can make the right decision. If it's a no, we need to justify it. Why?
Okay.
Yeah, if it's a yes, we still need to justify it, and it's because, well, here we have the experts gave us why it's a sound investment and it was a good choice.
Okay, so I think the first step will be me to sit down with Mike and or Diego, whoever at GITA will handle this type of work, because I know Mike, you're with property investment, or you're also with property management. Are you also with the investment side? Because GITA has, I know, more than one division. So yeah, you're on mute, Mike.
Sorry about that. I am with real property.
Yeah.
Under Diego. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to be connected with whoever, and I have to sit down with that person and find out what services are offered, and then we could come up with something. I'll bring it back to Nick, and then we could start preparing our draft and work it out with Gita before we get it to our commissioners.
Yes. Okay. And the information Commissioner Westling gave us, I commend her very well, and thank you for doing that. And it's right on the money. We got to be very, very, very careful, and we need to really know when to say no and when to say yes on projects. Yep. Okay.
Okay. So,
Commissioner Laguardia?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, that was very, very good information. But we did, out of the two investment opportunities that were presented, only one of them provided a response with regards to timeline on our investments, and if I, because I left them early in the last meeting, I'm sorry I had to go, but I do believe that the Pure Stone did mention the return was anywhere between 6 months to 1 year, and we can take our money out anytime. That's what my understanding with that I understood. And we can, yeah, the returns are upon pretty much an immediate.
Yeah, I understood it to be a loan, unsecured loan for about 5 years, with a 5% interest payment to us every quarter, broken down into quarterly payments. And then after 5 years, once they form the company and have registered with the NASDAQ, then they would be able to prepare shares and offered us that we could turn our loan to them into shares. And within a year or two, our shares should double after that period, after they register with the NASDAQ. To me, that means a 5-year return, and we would be taking all the risk because I didn't see any security with the loan. To be honest with you, I was trying to find a security in it, and yet it was an outright unsecured loan from what I was looking at. And I see that as risky at this point, extremely risky. And that's something that if we have some financial advisors, I mean, I'm not a banker, but I've had several loans with a bank, and for a lot less money than $5 million. And they usually want to make sure that they have collateral or some kind of instrument to secure their risk in handing out the loan of any size, even to buy a car. The car would still be the collateral, much less a house at 100, 200,000. So for $5 million, I would like to see something like that. And I think that's why we need people who are experienced with the banking industry. That's outside my area. My experience is probably like all of you. We go to the banks, we get loans. I've had several loans to the bank. So I have a lot of experience in purchasing properties and houses through the banks. And I know each one of them requires security of some sort and also a history, a portfolio that I would provide of the risk they would take from me being a customer. And usually that's one that they could readily find online. So that's my caution on that is, remember, I always advise you that the higher the returns, the higher the risk. And so the lower returns, the lower the risk. So in CDs, the risks are low, but the returns are low. In something like this, they're promising a doubling of our investment, but with that, we could easily lose the entire investment in one sweep. So,
and you have very valid points, and that's the reason why we need to move with these different evaluations. We need to. I mean, we're giving our experience of what we have, and I'm not, it's very fine and well. It's great. We just need to have, Nita hopefully will have an MOU in place so that you can verify all the information with regard to securities. And I'm expecting pros and cons. I'm not going to think there's just all pros or no cons, or all cons and no. I'm expecting the pros and the cons from it. So can we move towards looking into the director? I know you said you might have one or two, and Louise mentioned you had one or two. Verify that, and then see if we can get them on a one-off, and hopefully we can have Gita and then one or two others involved in it, so that we can make sound decisions on this. Commissioner Cruz.
So, on that our special July 7 meeting on that investment company, they gave us 3 weeks from July 6 or 7, and 3 weeks was just not enough for, it's like an uncharted territory for me. So I don't know why we may not need to entertain it again because the 3 weeks is up. My thought.
Yeah, well, you have a point, but let's see if it's really up. It might change. The same with the presentation from Gura. It's going to morph into different numbers and probably different positives and negatives on it.
Well, let's see. Let's see if they're going to to come back again, and so that's my thought.
No, but I agree. if it's 3 weeks and the opportunity is gone, it's gone. What can we do? This is the
Good.
timeline of art. If opportunities come in and they give us a timeline and we can't meet it, and we didn't meet it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
for
we
one do not like to be rushed.
We can't, yeah, it's just the nature of it. There's probably opportunities going to come up where there's a time frame and we can't make it. We can't make it. But look, keep moving. We move on. Okay, so it's already about 4:54. I need to wrap up, but Director, hopefully maybe you could look into those.
Yes.
You said you might have 1 or 2 others that you can present, and anybody has any type of
And I
these
do
type of
need-
things.
We do
Visa?
need expertise.
I'm sorry.
I agree that with you that we do need the expertise because we don't have that in our staff here, including myself. My skills are basically the same as each of you in this area, but we do need the expertise of someone like Vita or a banking institution or like Commissioner Wesley stated. So it's something we should look at, and I'll try to work an MOU out with Vita by sitting down and finding out who the person is, the counterpart with Mike and Diego in that area. And hopefully we can try to get something ready, some kind of draft.
And we really need to have one or 2 others involved in it. 1 or 2 others outside that we
Yeah,
can.
I was speaking with personnel at Coast 360 where we bank with, and they were looking at my proposal to them, which is basically what you're asking about now. But I haven't gotten word from them just as yet.
If Bank of Guam is another option, I think maybe we might want to look at that, or just,
Well, Bank of Guam might also be a conflict because I don't want to pull the governor into this, and that's their family bank.
Yeah.
I'm purposely avoiding Bank of Guam.
I'm wondering if Coast 360 would be a conflict, since that would mean taking our money out of Coast
Yeah,
360.
but Bank of Guam could easily become political, and I'd
Yeah,
like to keep that out of the political arena.
Take that out of the, yeah, okay. Okay, any further questions? Let's look at the, Mike, are we good with whatever? Mike? Okay, so hopefully we're gonna have an MOU with Gita available to look at, and then maybe 1 or 2 other options from another source. Okay, let's move on to public comments.
Mr. Chair, no one expressed any desire for public comments unless there's anybody here.
Okay.
Commissioner Guan has his hands up.
No,
Commissioner-
yeah, Mr. Chair. I think the Mr. Director sent us a performance evaluation, and I think we should address that immediately. Work performance and people's pay is very important. So anyway, we can work together and submit our evaluations to him as however we want to do it. Please, everybody, put your input and let's get that thing done as soon as possible.
Very good. How do we do it the last time? Director, how do we go about, do we have to, I know we can't address that right now, right? We can
Yeah, you
probably.
can. If you would like, I mean, it's up to how you're going to evaluate. You can evaluate on your own and set up a committee to submit the evaluation form to for somebody to go over it and come up with a rough number of what the evaluation is. I mean, you could also call me in an executive session or a special meeting that would be closed because it will be personnel issues. And then you could ask me questions if you like, or most of you already know, because I keep everything open, exactly what we do here at the commission. So if you want to evaluate me based on what you've seen and what we've done, I would always, some of us have met personally, but not that often enough. But you can see by the work itself how it's turning out. Commissioner LeGuan has his hand up.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Okay, in that case, may I suggest that we hold an executive session, a special meeting, and just put one line on the item of agenda, and that would be your performance evaluation.
Okay.
And my recommendation is that you fill in your evaluation sheet and you rate yourself. And then what we'll do is you present that to us in the executive session, and each one of us will provide our input in there, and we'll invite, comments and all. And we'll just get it open and transparency about among all of us commissioners. And because that's how that was done when I was an administrator for the government, and I was rated, and I had to answer questions to my director and a team of administrators. And that was one way, and it was open, and it was face to face, basically. But Zoom to Zoom is still good. But it's an honest evaluation among every individual member, and I think we owe that to you. So
Yeah,
that's just my recommendation. I can hear from others, but that's a quick way to get it over with fast.
Yeah, it's another functional way of doing it. I sat on the evaluation committee of the superintendent of education when I was on the board of education. And so I'm aware the other way that was done there was the forms were sent out to the commissioners, in that case to the board. The board members individually decided what they wanted. Then they decided if or not they're going to go into executive session and discuss the evaluation. But they set up a subcommittee that will go over the forms and the evaluation. But I'm open to either because I'm ready to answer questions. Evaluating myself is going to be kind of difficult because it's going to be biased. We all think we do good. It's how do we appear in the eyes of others.
Okay, so we call
yeah.
a special meeting and then just go into executive session. Do it
Yeah.
very, something like
But
that.
but that's
set the
why we
special-
get it open. But Mr. Director,
Okay.
that's why now we rate you on the say, okay, tell me what makes you deserve that. And then we find out. Everybody says, oh, Ron, I disagree with you on that. And Commissioner Cruz, yeah, I agree with you on that. Then we debate it, and then we all decide for each point down the line.
Knowing it was a tough year, the big one was I was sent in to reestablish the agency. It's up and running. That was a tough job. But I also thank my admin officer, Kathy. I brought her in about 3 weeks after, so that was a tough one to come in during a shutdown.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that went on there, so we could talk for hours about it. So
It's fine.
Mr.
I'll be
Chair.
ready.
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Okay,
can we make a
Just
decision
realize
as
how
to when?
biased I would be.
okay.
Can we make a decision when we need to do it? This is a
And you
personal matter
forgot
regards
about Joey, how he
ASAP.
really helped you, Mr.
Joey,
Birch.
Joey has been my historian. He kept me in check. I make sure I never go against my land agent. I will not make that mistake.
Same here. I mean, he's just
We're our working team.
he's just helped me
Okay.
out recently. Out of
Mr. Direct, we have a
I would
timeline
not
on this?
even when I was a professor, I was evaluated by my students. So I'm not even, I feel that even the staff could evaluate me if they want. Of course, they would like to keep theirs quiet because they might look at me later the next day.
have a timeline.
But
have a time.
I would not even mind the staff evaluating me, for that matter. I've always been very open about what I'm doing, and I share it with the staff, so they know exactly what's happening here, the challenges and the successes that we've had. And I think we had a lot of successes, but of course, with Joey and Kathy beside me, and of course our two part-timers, Mara, who's done a great job with the minutes. A lot of them have been very tough, and also with Andy helping Joey research the property. The material I get are all handed to me by both them, and when it comes to property, I learn a lot from them. And of course, when it comes to finances, I don't make a decision without Kathy giving me her perspective on it. That way we do the best that we can. We work as a team, in short. I just happen to lead the team, but I'm nothing about the rest. Believe me, I know that. And of course, you guys tell us what to do, and we try to give you the best that we can, and with the limited staff. But I think we've accomplished quite a bit. So you can see where I'll go. If you ask me about to evaluate myself, I'll be evaluating myself and my team.
Okay, so give us a timeline.
I don't think you have any issues whatsoever, Director, whatsoever.
Kathy has her hand up too, so.
Kathy?
Mr. Chairman, based on Vice Chairman's question about the timeline, Mr. Burke was confirmed by the board in November. So his 6 months was actually in May. So we're behind schedule for Mr. Burke's evaluation.
Okay, let's go ahead and set it up on a special meeting
Yes,
as soon as
please,
possible.
ASAP, yes.
And then
Okay,
we'll
the
go
next-
into
would be
executive
moved-
session.
The next
Okay.
meeting will then be as soon as possible, will be August 25th for a special meeting.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
August 25th.
And in lieu of that, Mr. Chair, like he recommends, we all submit our evaluations and then I guess you would decide to formulate a committee to gather that information and compile it. If that's how we're gonna go.
Also, it could be a regular meeting and then go into executive session if that's when we're supposed to have our next meeting. Is that supposed to be our next meeting or is that earlier or later?
That's 2 weeks from now, but
I'm sorry.
Special meeting.
That should be a regular meeting.
A regular meeting, and then we can go into executive. That way we can also cover
No.
whatever we cover.
No, I was thinking,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I was thinking an executive special meeting, which is an executive session. That way,
Yes.
the only even one item on the agenda, and that's it.
Correct.
You know, we
correct.
need to get this thing rolling. We're doing an injustice already to
Yes.
our director. That since
Yes.
May,
Okay,
you know,
so
we
I
need
have
to
a
take
question
action
then.
immediately.
Are we gonna have 3 meetings then? Because we need, the regular meeting is supposed to be the 25th. We announced that at the last meeting that it's gonna be 2 regular meetings, the 2nd and 4th week of the month. So if we're gonna have a special meeting, would that be next week then? We still need, we still should have.
We're gonna need the public notice in it. So maybe we could have that's why I said we could have a regular meeting, then go into an executive session for the director and then continue the regular, or have the special meeting a day or 2 after our regular meeting. So I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Have a regular meeting on the 25th, then have a special meeting the following day or so, which is just that one thing with the director, which is
All right,
evaluation. So it's up to the board.
Yeah, we're allowed special meetings. You know that.
Okay, so regular meeting, August 25th, and then maybe a day or 2 later, special meeting for the evaluation of our director. Good?
good, yeah.
You don't, I mean, isn't time of the essence to get this evaluation done?
I agree. I agree.
And I mean, so shouldn't we do it like maybe next week? I mean, why
Yeah.
wait
Government
until
law.
after?
Public notice,
I
we're
I
not
agree.
public notice law.
the open government law requires us to place notices out publicly and advertise it in the media. And because of the timeline, I don't, Kathy, can we beat that if we get it out and just put one subject? Can we beat the 25th and make it earlier for a special meeting? I know Kathy, I can see she's looking at her calendar because
Oh, okay, I understand now.
this ads that have to go out to the Guam Post.
Well,
This-
Mr. Director,
Okay,
If we're gonna have a special meeting, it's gonna have to be the week of the 25th. It's gonna be next week because we'll already be in violation of the open government law.
okay,
But-
okay, I'm
Mr.
sorry, I was thinking this would be like a
No.
working meeting, which you don't have to give notices for working
That-
meetings,
that-
right?
Work
that's-
sessions, you don't need to have a meeting.
Right.
yeah, no,
Okay.
but you know, even special meetings, I think on special meetings for an executive session, I'm not sure if it applies for the open government law.
It would, we would still have to,
It
because
would.
it's a special meeting,
It
it would
would,
have to.
okay, okay then, I
Yeah,
understand.
special meetings, you do have an open government law
Okay.
requirement.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, okay.
Okay,
Okay, so then again, August 25th, regular meeting, then a day or 2 later, special meeting for the director, or on our regular meeting, have going to executive session for the evaluation of the director. It's up to the board.
I could eliminate my director's report for that one.
You
It'll
could
keep it
eliminate,
short.
yeah.
I feel that we should go ahead and, have the regular meeting and then right after have the an executive meeting for the evaluation. So we can,
Would we still be in time? I mean, okay with having a special meeting a day or 2 later? The board's okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that too.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine.
Okay,
You know, what I could, yeah, Mr. Chair, you know, I think that we devote our entire energy on one item for the director for his performance evaluation.
Yeah.
I
So
think that's the main subject matter. You know, it's so important.
Very
Thank you.
good, Vice Chair. I'm in agreement too. So regular meeting, August 25th. So maybe the next day or the following.
Friday. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the next day, August 26th, will be my wedding anniversary of my wife. That'll be 49 years.
Oh,
All right.
And that little time with her.
Congratulations.
awesome.
Okay.
I got one
So
more year
you,
for 50. Hopefully I'll survive that
okay.
long.
All right. Okay.
So that's good. We're good to go
Perfect timing.
for
Good
good
to go.
news. Okay.
So special meeting on the Friday, the 27th.
Okay.
And
Very
regular
good.
meeting on Wednesday, the 25th. Okay.
Very good.
We'll
Okay.
set it up.
So, okay. We're on item now 9, and I think we're done with that. So we're gonna adjourn.
I move to adjourn,
Move.
Mr. Chair.
Adjourn. Adjourn.
Okay. Si Jules Masi, everybody. Gita, thank you.
It's 5:10.
Joey, Steph, Kathy, and we'd like to also welcome back our legal counsel, Toph. Glad you're back safe.
Yeah.
Did
there
you
you
sponsor-
go.
Well, Mr. Chair, the time to adjourn right now is 5:10.
Okay.
It is
Thank you.
5:10. This meeting is
Yes.
adjourned.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, Mr. Director. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.